Good morning, everybody. This is Steve, a 1,000-year home. So, welcome aboard. My mission is for one man off grid, all by himself, to build a house that will last 1,000 years. And it's off grid. So, by 1,000 years, I mean with routine maintenance, that average Joe would be able to maintain everything 1,000 years. So, every choice I make is material that can last 1,000 years, like sand. That'll last for forever, or polyethylene, which will last 300 years. So if it's a temporary material like polyethylene, water pipes, I'm going to try to make sure that I engineer it in such a way that somebody can get to it. So I'm using modern materials and natural ancient materials. I believe I'm going to end up with earth bags wrapped around the outside. So if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that the biggest chore that I've done is cut these windows in. They are not welded. There is no welded frame around there because there's a burn ban in my county. These are entirely timber frame windows, and they took me a little while to get watertight. So I had to have them watertight before I was able to move forward with the next phase and work on the inside of the container. So I'm working on the front door there. That's just propped up to see how that brick pallet will work for me as stairs, and it'll work great. I used to have a tarp underneath that was killing the grass, getting that ready. It's the grass looks like it's dead enough. I can work on it. Found an armadillo burrow underneath all that tarp. Let's go check on him. Let's see if he doesn't like what I've done. So now I can get in with my tractor and scrape all that out. Everybody told me armadillos, they'll move right in. Looky there. Moved right in. A little armadillo. So now I got to figure out how to evict him. All right. And I don't shoot things, so he's not going to get shot. I'll figure out how to evict him in other ways. Maybe those windmills make noise. Maybe those will make an armadillo run. All right. Let's look inside the Conex. All righty. So what I've been working on is the back portion here, which will be one bedroom, and I've got it all cleaned out, all watertight. I can officially start building in here. So today is I'm going to run joists across the roof, and part of those will be to support the ceiling when I pour perlite concrete for a deck on top. As well as anything that's completed, I'm going to go ahead and run insulation and backer boards so I can put in drywall. And so I want to have all the rough framing in today inside this section. And so I'm going to start with cleaning it. I've got my camera set up. And right there, that piece of tape, that's roughly where I believe the bedroom wall will end and the bathroom will begin. So I want to get all the way built to that. I won't put that wall in until I actually bring in a bathtub and stage for the bathroom area. But everything's been verified via storms as being watertight. I still have a header to build on the outside of that stained glass window. My gosh, from at night, these things are beautiful. I'll try to catch a night shot with it lit up. So, and that door doesn't exit to anything yet, but ultimately it will exit to a great hall that I'll cut in at a later date. So I'll cut in a great hall. Once I get the roof, phase 2 will be that. And so there's all my supplies. I've got my insulation in here. I've got my silver InfraStop here. This really makes a big difference for shooing away the heat. And so that's my goal. I'm going to set up my sawmill out there. I always have to cover it every night because of the dew. So I'm going to uncover my sawmill, and I've got everything I built, like I said, is 1,000 years. So even when I'm doing just furring strips, you can see that I bought ground contact 2x4s. And the big scope of things, you couldn't build a house like this without adding 15 or 20%. But I'm starting with the Conex. So me buying a $5 2x4 versus a $3 2x4 is minimal. One, I'm not using the framing, right? The Conex itself acts as a substructure, the superstructure. So everything I attach to it is already structurally sound. I don't have to do calculations. And so the things that I'm attaching to it are simply to carry the facade of the dressings and the place to tuck in the electrical and plumbing, as well as a place to have the insulation and a little protection until I can wrap it in earth bag. All right. So that's today's project. I'll break in as I go throughout the day. Weather check, it was 53 out here earlier. I went ahead and checked the container walls. They're 66. So pretty good. You'll see me lose the shirt and lose the hat pretty fast as Texas ramps right up in temperature during this fall day. So I don't know how far away I am from spring ahead, fall behind time, but daylight savings change, but I think I'm heading that way. So this is Steve. Keep watching this video, and hopefully I'll get those joists in today. All right, so the first stage of building the back bedroom is complete. So took me an hour and a half or so. So what I did is I sanded all of the splintery edges. I don't want any splintery edges. I'm going to linseed oil when I'm done. So everything will have a preservative on it. But so I knocked off, I rounded all the corners with an angle grinder. You'll see that in a stop motion. And then wherever the water had a stain here, so I'll focus in on it. You can see that there's a stain back in there from the water running in before I got this all the way built. I'll get in there with a little sanding Dremel or something and clean that up. So, you know, I had to sand and clean that. This had quite a bit of water damage. Still does in the video, but in real life, you don't see it so heavy. It blends in at the very least. Knocked all the corners off of this so they're all rounded. I won't get splinters. Went ahead and dressed those. Those look much better. They had big stains on them, and I dressed those out. Dressed some of the other 4x4s. This one had a big splinter that would have stuck somebody, so I went ahead and rounded it. Again, with the Spanish Mission vibe, that's going to look pretty good. And then I swept a couple of times, and you know, these are from around the world, these containers, so I don't want some Malaysian mold spore sitting in the corner. So I shop vac when I was all the way done, and I went ahead and swept a couple of times, but I shop vac everything. I don't want, when that water came in, it would have brought in wood reducing dry rot spores, and I know that they're still in the world, but I vacuumed everything here. I vacuumed out all of the cracks because I'm going to end up doing the floor. And if you take a look at where the heavy fork truck has run over that plate steel, it's got a little wave in it. I'm just going to pour floor leveling in there. I'm going to do there. I'm going to put decoupling maps down. I haven't decided which one. Probably the Schlader, probably. I'm not sure what I'll do for that. Whatever I find local. And I'm ready for the next phase, which will be to rip 2x4s for all of the trimming, and as well as the joist in the ceiling. And I'll get the reflective wrap. It is now 72 degrees on the container wall, so that's pretty nice. It was warmed up. I'm going to pull off my jacket. So I'm starting the joists on the ceiling, and ran into a little problem. I'll rotate here. You really can't visually see it, but I'll demonstrate it with this block that I'm using. All right, so I'm finding commonality. I've got a little block here that I'm using as a template that's 3 3/4 one way, 3 1/4 the other way. I'm just using it as a spacer, and I figured out that 3 1/2 will let me, will give me the ceiling joist over here, so I measured that 3 1/2. 3 3/4 doesn't fit everywhere, but 3 1/2 does. And any place that's off a little bit, I'm going to shim. So I'm going to cut a block for 3 1/2. So I went, checked everything, so 3 1/2 will universally fit, except, and you can't see it, this one, there's a slight dent in the ceiling, right? So this side will fit, but the other side where the dent is will not fit. So let me demonstrate. So that's the other problem that I found with these shipping containers, is they are dented, and wherever there's a dent, it doesn't fit. So 3 3/4 doesn't fit there anymore, not like the other ones. So if I cut 3 1/2, it's definitely not going to fit. So a couple of different things. I have a metal post out there with a not at all. I have a metal post out there, and I thought the floor jack, maybe I'll be able to jack it up, or I'm just going to have to plane the crap out of it right there on that one, because that's 3.5. Or I could cut this end short, cut it at an angle instead of ripping it straight. I don't think I want to do that. So, all right. So while I have said the advantage of shipping containers is they're straight and 90s, and you can build fast, and I've got the structural energy of a shipping container. I could not have built a stick-built house. I'm going to tell you that. I needed a shell to bolt things to and to do this. So I'm grateful for the shipping container. But where they're dented, you're going to have to get creative. And I haven't decided on what creative thing I'm going to do yet. I think I'll go out and get the pole. It's my stripper pole. And I'll put it on a jack and see if I could jack it up and push the ceiling up just a little bit right there. We shall see. Well, everyone who owns a shipping container construction site needs a stripper pole. And here's why. Listen, I didn't know what it was. I saw it in a dumpster and I thought, who's throwing away a perfectly good 1/8-inch steel and chrome pole? So I pulled it out of the dumpster and I brought it home. And I had it for a while before so dumb me figured it out. Looky. So hold on, let me rotate. All right, so there's a dent in there that pulls this whole roof down. Everything else is 3.5. I'm going to be able to cut one joist, one size, get it in there and fit. But except right there, it was down probably to, I'm going to guess 3 1/8. So that's a big deal. And so what I did is I stuck my stripper pole in there, and then I can crank it, see, like this. Well, if I didn't have just one hand, I could crank it, and you could see that with the screws, I drove it up, and then I put a block in there to stretch it out. So I like that. That's going to work for me. Alternately, right, I could leave off one of these layers, and then I could bring in a little floor jack, and I have a smaller floor jack. I'll find it, and then I'd be able to just use the floor jack and pump that up and get it right where I want it, which is probably what I'll do. I'll find my little 1-ton floor jack, and then I can stretch these out, and then they'll fit without me having to cut a whole bunch of special cuts. Every time you make an angle, every time you make a cut, it's money and time, right? So you want to reduce the number of angles you need. Now, I'm building a custom built home here, and so I do a lot of fiddling anyways, but that's one thing I didn't want to fiddle with. Plus, I'm able to pull that roof tight where it should be and up, and then the water will shed, right? Ultimately, I'm going to pour concrete on it, but concrete, if you can get it, it's like, imagine concrete's like a porcelain plate. You don't want a porcelain plate with highs and lows in it and little pebbles underneath it or anything like that. It'll break. So concrete's the same way. Wherever there's a slight dip, that's where there's stress in it. And even if it's slight, that's where you'll get a crack. So get a little better performance if everything's real flat and packed. And that's why guys spend a lot of time on the sand before they pour concrete. You'll think, oh, I could throw stones in there and I could leave a rough surface and just pour concrete. Well, no, you can't, because you just gave yourself a bunch of cracks. So anyway, back to the stripper pole. Everybody building a Conex, everybody needs to get a stripper pole so that they could adjust the roof. There you go. Bye. Boy, I thought I could get a 2x4 in there and propped up, but even down there, it's way tight, way tight. I'll rotate here. And there is a little dome, so in the middle, you know, they'll be 4-inch. What I want to do is that reflective foil, I want to make sure I put some more of that in there, so the roof will have reflective foil. So, you know, that's 8 inch. It's bubble wrap in between. It'll compress a little bit. I'm not worried about Again, the structural energy of the roof is already there. These 2x4s are just to hold the insulation and the ceiling fan and the lights. And when I pour concrete, I want to make sure it'll be perlite. It won't be heavy concrete. It'll be lightweight concrete. So perlite, and then I'll put a coating on it of some kind or another, and then shoo the water out is what I'll do. So a little white painted roof or blue painted roof upstairs. Maybe gray to cut down on the intense sun. But nonetheless, my idea for cutting the ends and sticking it in, I don't think I'm going to get away with that. Even if I used a sledge in there and just drove it in there, I don't think I can get that up all the way. I'm going to have to cut it at an angle. But let's see if I fit in that corner. All right, let's rip some 2x4s for the roof. I'm going to cut a 1/4 inch off of each of these. 2 of them. That ought to do that. Make sure it's 0 degrees. 0. All right. So let's rip a 1/4. Well, doing everything one-handed is very, 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 very difficult. Yeah, set the 1/4 to be on the other side of the kerf there. Almost got it. Oh, too far. And then, of course, I can use this, too. That helps a little bit. Alright, that looks like it's going to be rip a 1/4, including the blade kerf. Maybe a little more. Right, so a little sawdust on there. Sorry about that if you got a sawdust in your eye. All right, so I cut 2 of these to 3 1/4. And again, the roof has a dome to it to shed water. So every one of these is going to be custom cut, hopefully in matching. 24-inch centers is what I'm going to put those up on there. Yeah, so let's see if these fit or not. So there we go, 2 of them cut. All right, well, that was the right size cut. I'll shim anything that I need to if one of them's off a little bit. But what I underestimated was this ferrule on the end of the post on the end of the Conex extends into the Conex, and there's a little angle. That usually catches everybody. So I need to cut just a little bit off the end of that. So down it'll go because I don't want sawdust in my eye. But that's going to work, and I'm real happy with that. Yeah, I just from this point on, it's just a bunch of cutting and dialing, and I got to get in the reflective foil on there. And I'll start that process now, actually. amount of work for the morning. So this foil is surprisingly structural. So pulling it up, you can't just pull it because it folds and creases, and then aluminum really has an energy. So this was a lot of hard work to pull that through there. Let me rotate around. So there you go. I pulled it in rough. I'm going to straighten it out, and then I've got rock wool, based insulation to put on top of that. So let's check. Let's check the roof. All right. Could you see that? Is it focused? 82 is what it says. It might not have focused. All right. Let's see if I can get it to focus. 83. All right. So there's the insulation. That's just holding that up temporarily until I build the joists here. Now watch. 123. So you can see I go from 80 to 123. 40-degree difference. And this is in the spring. I don't know what it is outside. It's pretty warm. Let's see. I'll shoot that little saw. 98 in the sun. 84 on the ground. I'm going to guess the ambient temperature is 84, which would make this ceiling ambient temperature, wouldn't it? 83, 84. So very good. So this aluminum foil, well worth the money. It's thin. It doesn't add a lot of dimensional space. I mean, it adds a little bit of structure and protects your Conex from the condensation, because it'll equalize the temperature differential and shoo away moisture. So my Conex won't rust with that thing on the inside, so I won't have a moisture problem. So I'm going to roll this up and tuck it up. It's time for lunch. Uno already came up and bugged me and told me I was late for lunch, and darn if he's not right. So I call him Uno, carbon copy horse, just like him, old horse. He's Hank, I'm sorry. Keep calling you the wrong name. Hey, Hank, I keep calling you the wrong name. Is that all right, brother? He thinks there's still oats left on the ground. There is no oats on that ground. He's just silly. So he's right. He's got his breakfast, his lunch. He'll come up around 3, like 10, 2, and 4, like the old Dr. Pepper. So, but very pleased with this morning's work. I've got 2 ceiling joists cut and in. I've got the middle ones cut and ready to put in. And that'll give me 2-foot centers for the 5-inch, 8-inch drywall. I might run another one down the middle, maybe. We'll see. Maybe I want 16-inch centers on that. We'll see. What else? Oh, the fans I've got out there and lights. So this is nice. I mean, standing right here it's nice. Standing over there where everything radiates, it's every bit of 100. So the folks that get these things insulated faster than me definitely have they're a little bit ahead. So but I do everything custom. I do everything to last 1,000 years. I check that bubble wrap InfraStop, and the aluminum will last forever. And of course, plastic will last hundreds and hundreds of years. So even after the plastic finally degrades, in forever, we all know it's in forever, right? There'll still be a gap between the aluminum, and it'll still be reflecting heat away. None of that will matter, because my whole Conex is going to be wrapped with concrete roof and earthbag. So even if theoretically, if the Conex rusts out in 1,000 years, there'll still be a shell here of a house. We'll see. I'll come back in 1,000 years and do a retrospect. All right, Internet, I didn't get nearly done everything I thought I'd get done today, but that's okay. I accomplished goals. Let me rotate. The ceiling is officially up. It doesn't matter if that stuff's loose. In fact, a little bit of loose helps reflect the solar energy better, the radiant energy better. So everything is chased in. I notched that beam in preparation for me to be able to put 2x4 all along a kick plate, because I might adjust, if that's not a true 8-foot, right, I might adjust the drywall up or down. So I brought in a couple of boards so they don't get rained on. It's supposed to rain this week. I've got my nail gun all adjusted and calibrated for me to put things in. And I've made some other decisions. Those rafters are all the way, and they took a little while. I really had to torque on them to get them twisted. Those are 24-inch center to center. That's 20-inch, that's 20-inch, that's 24. So I had to compromise a little bit in the middle of it. This is just up temporary while I figure out what I'm doing. So bathroom wall to the last 8-foot span to the next 8-foot span will include the bathroom wall, a pocket door. Leah helped me build the drywall hanger so I can hang the drywall safely. So, but I think the next thing for me to do is to finish up the outside here while I have a chance. I'm going to do the sill plate right there on there and maybe trim it out on the sides. I don't know, but I need to do that work before I trim everything around, because I might need the distance for the if I trim everything with 2x4s, I might not be able to get screws in. So we'll find out. So anyway, that's what I'm working on, is the outside plate while I'm running out of daylight. Story of my life, running out of daylight. So got a little bit done today, as you could see. And then the insulation I have in, it's all right there. I'm going to tear it down the middle. I'm packing up for the night. It's expecting some rain, so I'm already sawmill. I ripped a few boards that I need. As I'm going, I'm washing some of the floor tiles that I bought at the Round Top. Such a good deal, 100-year-old French floor tile. So I'm trying to put them in the pattern so I could see the pattern. And I've started sorting. When I run into any of the ones that are the purple and pink, I'm setting those to the side. I'll do the dirtiest ones in a pallet, and I'll stick with the clean ones. The dirty ones I'll put underneath cabinets and things like that. So, but let me see if I can get this done over here before sunset. I'm going to take down the plastic and put up a ladder and see how far I get with this header. It needs a little bit of an angle. See how that's at an angle? I'll have to cut out the header, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut it out a little bit, notch it so that the angle's taken care of. Whenever I have to notch and cut at an angle, that's it takes a little while with the chainsaw. So that's chainsaw work right there. So I'll just plunge cut a bunch of cuts and then chisel it away. So and I'll start on that tonight. I just need to pick a header to start with. All right, this is Steve at 1,000-Year Homes. So today I got the back room. I got a good start on it. Oh, I also set up the electrical. All of this was off camera. I got to get stuff done, and camera takes a while. So I also scheduled up the electrical. I know how I'm going to do that. So like, subscribe, join me on this adventure. As you can see, I'm all the way out here. Just me and an old horse that he's nowhere to be found. So just me. All right, like, subscribe, join me. Thank you. Bye. This evening is upon me. So this is the first time that I feel like I've got a house nearing move-in. Like I could see the end at the light of the tunnel. So it's still a rough shape. Let me swivel. But, you know, the little mottled appearance, it's just protective. But the stained glass window is in, the header's in. Alex helped me fix that when I broke it. Good memories. The outside windows are all in. The insulation, well, it's pretty chilly out here. It's probably in the 60s already. The inside of the Conex was still 71, 72. I could just see the thing coming together finally. The stained glass window here. In between there'll be a mosaic or a chevron in wood. So beginning to look good. That window needs its iron sill. I've still got to work on that. I'll do that when I do that end of it. And this little bookcase hasn't been done at all. So, but the change in weather has been a change in fortunes for me. And I took a look, and it's supposed to be a mild winter, so I'll be able to work longer, better hours than 15 minutes in, 15 minutes out. Won't just be a hot box. I've already got a heater that I can use in the winter that's big enough for this, so feel good about it. I set up for tomorrow already. I've got a couple of boards to start doing the frame out for the drywall. I've tested the electrical system, ready to start putting that in. Okay. Well, thank you for following along. For those of you who have liked and subscribed, if you're going to build a shipping container and you don't have access to welding, ask me how I did it. None of this has had a touch of welder on it. Not a stick of welder has touched this thing. And I think that that's an important differentiation between my build and a lot of other builds. I'm out off grid. I'm not allowed to use right now because of the drought welding out here. But I've still been successful even with that. So, and in addition, all of the big timbers, right? That's a real statement piece for a shipping container build. I put the money into a few pieces that make the whole thing just sizzle, just sizzle. So this is Steve, 1,000 Year Homes. Like and subscribe, follow me along. Watch the setting sun with me. So there we go. All right, y'all. Bye-bye.